Peter Thomas Fornital back with you for Breeders' Cup Betting Challenge Diaries. We're getting down to the nub, people. Weeks away, just a couple of weeks away from this year's Breeders' Cup, but there's still Breeders' Cup Betting Challenge qualifying going on over at horseplayers.com. We're breaking format on today's show. Next week, we're going to catch up with all of the recent BCBC qualifiers and how they got there. We will give a special shout out to Tim Yoler, who got the job done in our horse player happy hour qualifier last Thursday. We've got two more of those coming up on the next couple of Thursdays. And remember, those are very special because it's the usual $179 horseplayers.com format, but the house cut goes to charity, the Thoroughbred Aftercare Alliance, and Therapeutic Horses of Saratoga. So this is a great chance to support Thoroughbred Aftercare while potentially winning your way into the Breeders' Cup Betting Challenge. Yes, we'll catch up on all those qualifiers soon. If you're looking for information about places to qualify, the Breeders' Cup website is the place to go, breederscup.com/BCBC. You'll see those remaining opportunities at places like twinspires.com and like ExpressBet. To look at the whole ExpressBet schedule, you can go to expressbet.com/tournaments as well. Keep abreast of all of that. Horseplayers.com, probably the number one place to go, especially because of those aforementioned direct qualifiers on Thursday. Horse Players Happy Hour. So all year long on this show, we've checked in with three players. Two of them have punched their tickets to the BCBC already. The third joins me now with a story from last weekend at Keeneland and upcoming work he's doing on the Horse Players Happy Hour show. He's a key member of the team over at InTheMoneyPodcast.com. He's Jackson Muniz. Jackson, how are you, my friend?
Doing good, man. Doing good. Getting ready to wrap up this Lexington trip. So it's going to be pretty sad when I get back home, but Breeders' Cup coming up very quickly. So
right on the heels. We see you. Yes, you're in that. You got that hotel room in Lexington look right now behind you. We'll start with the most general question of all. Was this your first trip to Keeneland, and what did you make of it?
Yeah, it was my first time out there, and I knew it was going to be a good trip when I got off the plane and went to the baggage claim. And when the bags were coming out, they play the Call to the Post song, and I knew right away this is going to be good. And it was so cool. I mean, my first day was Thursday, and I went there really early just to check it out. Got there 2 hours before post, and it was already packed. I couldn't believe it. The parking lot was already full. There was a ton of people there already on a Thursday, random Thursday at Keeneland, and they do horse racing the right way out here. So the whole trip was so much fun. The atmosphere was awesome. The crowd was awesome. Obviously, the racing was top quality. So awesome trip. Can't wait to come back.
That's great. Where were you hanging out on track, and who were you seeing there? Or the whole contest community was around the big Keeneland Fall Challenge won by a man we've had on these airwaves before, Super Dave Nichols, getting the job done there. Again, we'll have the complete results for you soon, but just curious to hear a little bit about what your experience was like in terms of where you sat and who with.
Yeah, the first day I was just wandering around checking out different vantage points from wherever, and then Friday I was in the contest, which we'll get to. So I was in the contest room Friday, and then Saturday and Sunday were Saturday was the big contest. So I was hanging out with Matt Miller, Brad Anderson, Noah Maher, his dad Tim Maher, Justin Sampson, few other. Chris Couples was there too, and his wife. Met a lot of cool people. I met Tim Schrupp, I think his last name is, the BCBC guy. He was super nice. So met so many cool people. Had an awesome time. I didn't play in the big contest, but it was really cool just being in that room, watching everyone do their thing, to talk of their strategies. So it was a lot of fun.
It's a great point about contests in general. In this day and age where so much happens virtually, it's great to have these opportunities to get in face-to-face contact with these people whose names you've seen on leaderboards, you've been competing against. Not too bad a company there you were keeping with some regulars like Chris Couples from our Horse Player Happy Hour show, Tim Schramm. Nobody does a better job providing horse player hospitality than he does for the BCBC, a contest he's been involved with from the beginning. And hey, not bad either to sit down and get some quality time with a couple of Breeders' Cup Betting Challenge winners in the form of Brad Anderson and Matt Miller, both of whom have been huge supporters of our Horse Players Happy Hour show from the beginning. So I'm sure you couldn't help but have some fun and learn something in a community like that one. All right, let's hear about Friday. I haven't even gotten the particulars from you off air about this one. Walk us through your experience in the Friday qualifier from Keeneland.
Yeah, so Friday was $400 entry fee, $250 to the bankroll, and there was only one BCBC seat, which obviously everyone's targeting that top spot. So I put my target around $3,000. I figured would put me close to it, and there was no minimums, so you could play whatever you wanted. You could play as little as you wanted, as much as you wanted. I figured. I mean, I looked through the card. I didn't really see much, so I'm like, I'm gonna play a big double last two races. All I'm gonna do. Don't expose myself to any risk throughout the day because I just didn't like anything early on. Um, Loved a horse in the Sycamore. It was, I can't remember the name. It was number 3. It was Tyler Gaffleone. It was Brian Lynch, but he was 9-2 morning line. I'm like, okay, here we go. That's my single. It's a mile and a half. He's gonna win this race. I need this horse to win. And then I was targeting the 3 horse and the 10 in the last race. So that was my play. And we get to the ninth race, and the leader already had over 3,000. I think he had like 3,200. So right away, I'm already have to overshoot my target. And I was looking at the probables. And right away, I knew I was going to have to do something different because the 10 in the last race was my top pick. I knew I needed the 10 horse, but the 3 he got crushed. I think he was like 10-1 more in line, and he was only paying, I want to say $15 in the double, which would not have gotten me anywhere near where I needed to be. So I pivoted to the 7 and the 10 in the last race. So a big $125 double, each 3 with 7, 3 with 10, and they were each paying about 5,000, which I figured would. If that didn't win, that's just is what it is. I like that combo. Here we go. And first race goes off. My horse gets a great trip. Comes through the top of the stretch. Battles with the Appleby runner all the way to the wire. I mean, he looks like he's going to blow right on by. But those Applebees, man, they just run. And they duked it out all the way to the finish line. My horse gets his nose down. I go crazy. Yes, we are alive. We have a chance. So, that's
Highway Robber,
yes.
by the way, the name of that one. Bold Act running second. Yeah, 98 Beyer speed figure. I can imagine the celebration. Next year when you're in that position, we need a camera on you, my friend. I want to see that jumping around, that feeling of being alive for it all. How were you feeling at that point? Were you confident, cautiously optimistic, somewhere in between?
Yeah, in between. I mean, I really didn't like the favorites in that spot, the last race, and I thought it was pretty wide open. I felt good about the horses I had, and that's all you can ask for is a chance going in that last race with a total that would probably win or at least get you to the top 2 or 3. So I was feeling good about it. I was, trying to distract myself for the next 30 minutes because that's all you can do, just wait. And we go out there for the next race, and they're going around the turn, and right away, my 7 horse breaks dead last, and he's 15 lengths off the lead pretty quickly. So I knew I was down to the 10, who he broke pretty well. They're coming around the turn. He's about 4th on the outside. And I don't know, at Keeneland, the grandstand's not quite parallel to the track. It's a little slanted, so I couldn't really see when they're coming around. There was like a 12-second lapse. I couldn't really see anything. And all of a sudden they come back into view at the top of the stretch, and I'm looking. I can't tell who's there. And they're coming in, and all of a sudden I realize that's my 10 horse on the outside. That's my 10. He's flying. He's got all the momentum on the outside. And he comes up right along next to the leaders. He probably sticks his head in front. And I think he thought the first finish line was the finish line, because as soon as they crossed it, he hit a wall, and he stopped coming, and he finished, she ended up finishing second by about, I think it was a neck or half a length. Big long shot blew up my contest. I was pretty disappointed. I thought I was like 2-5 at the 8th pole. She had all the momentum, man. It was a heartbreaker for sure.
Oh, that's rough. And what an appropriate name for the filly who beat you, for someone to rain on a parade. Bah humbug.
Yeah.
Getting up, not getting up, just holding off Quiet Confidence by a half length there. Quiet Confidence, a huge run at 9-1. Let's hope that's not as close as you get to getting a BCBC. Boy, not many will have come closer than you. Once again, as I've said to you on other appearances on the show, I feel like you played it exactly right. You just need the luck. At least you didn't get nosed by the first one you threw out, kind of a thing. I know that was still the right play to throw that horse out, because, like you said, wasn't going to get you there. But still, I mean, this is one of those where you see this a lot with big long shots, Bah Humbug being 20-1, 22-1 in the end. A lot of these big long shots that win, it's because it's of a pace scenario. Either they go wire to wire, or it's because of a meltdown. In this case, Bah Humbug made every pole a winning one at your expense. But the good news, such as it is the day before you had advanced on Horse Players Happy Hour, 2 of your entries that were in the final 40 made it to the final 20. Now on Thursday, and folks can follow this along live with us on Horse Players Happy Hour. The stream will go live 3 Eastern on Breeders' Cup YouTube, probably the easiest place to watch it, or Breeders' Cup social media. You've got 2 chances to get to this final table. Only one of these 2 entries can go forward. You can't have 2 entries at the final table the way we did the rules for this. What are you thinking in terms of strategy? How confident do you feel? Hopefully this is a case where you didn't lose the other day so much as your inevitable victory was delayed a week.
Yeah, let's hope. Obviously, I feel pretty good. You only need one to advance, right? I can sacrifice one for the other. Not going to change too much with the horses I've been picking. I've been mostly, you only need to beat half the field, so I've been mostly sticking with the more logical horses. I don't need to take some swings at some 10-1 shots and just try to get to the top. Unless there just happens to be one horse I completely love, sure, I'll throw him in on one. But for the most part, the plan is to just keep going with, I'll pick 3 or 4 favorites I think are shorter prices, I think are really strong, and then I'll divert on the other 4 races, or I don't know how many races they're going to be, but yeah, 8 races. So probably 3 or 4 on the same will be the same on both entries, and then 3 or 4 will be different, and we're gonna see what happens. Just need them to run.
And you'll also be joining us live, so we'll get those reactions from you in that second hour. Really looking forward to seeing you again there, wishing you the best. You've made an amazing run at this, and still that chance for the fairy tale ending of all 3 of our BCBC Diaries players being able to advance: Tyler Hoffman, Justin Mustari, and Jackson Muniz, who we were fortunate to have as our guest today. Really appreciate you coming on, my friend.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Pete, as always.
Great talking to Jackson. Great getting a chance to check in with this audience. Again, join us for Horse Players Happy Hour. We got a couple more of these BCBC Diaries shows to go to. Make sure you subscribe to Breeders' Cup social media so you never miss an episode. And while you're on YouTube, why don't you navigate over to In the Money Media YouTube and subscribe there as well. We'll be back on Thursday with that Horse Players Happy Hour show. One more reminder, check out the schedule for qualifying. Still plenty of opportunities remaining. Horseplayers.com and breederscup.com/BCBC. 2 of the best places. Check out our partners, Twin Spires and ExpressBet as well. We'll be back in a flash. Till then, I'm Peter Thomas Fornatow, and I'll see you on the leaderboard.